I very much enjoy Latvia. I love Riga. I've been here several times. I like it better in the summer than winter, but okay. No, it's a beautiful place, and I always have good contacts here. I think there's a thriving approach to security, so it's a great pleasure to be here.
Okay, thank you. So, as an EU representative here today, what can you tell about EU policies on cybersecurity, like for now and maybe in some near future?
Well, it's definitely an enormous growth area. It's growing very strongly, and I think there's an increasing awareness not only within the core cybersecurity component of the EU, if you like, but also in all the sectors that cybersecurity is one of the issues that's going to drive the future. Yeah? You see this everywhere. It's creeping into sectorial discussions. And of course, when you talk about cybersecurity in its own right, there's a lot happening. The two things I would pick out for attention at the moment, which are really the big things that are driving pure cybersecurity in Europe at this moment, are the NIS directive, which is a piece of, well, the first piece of cybersecurity legislation in Europe, which is driving security of critical infrastructures. That means those infrastructures that are necessary for us to carry on leading our daily lives. So we're talking about things like transport, drinking water, energy, etc., very fundamental things. But also services like cloud and search engines, which, though they may not seem that critical from first sight, in fact, they are becoming rapidly critical. So that's the first thing. The second big policy stream, I think, which is going on in parallel, is the whole area of data protection and privacy. And I think here this is very challenging. It's enormously challenging because we have probably one of the most ambitious legal frameworks in the world, and yet in terms of tools and deployment, we have a lot of work to do, really a lot of work. And ENISA is working with many people, member states, commission, various institutions, to make sure that we implement this excellent framework in the right way. Just as an example, when you come into work in the morning, you don't have a nice green circle on your computer that tells you all your private data is secure. That doesn't exist. And then you plug it into the internet and maybe it goes half red. That would be nice to have these sort of visual tools. We don't have anything like this. And so I think the challenge with all these very ambitious policies is to translate them into something which means something very concrete to the average European citizen. Something simple, but which gets the job done. And that's what ENISA tries to concentrate on.
Okay, so what should we as EU citizens, just common users, should be aware of?
Well, I think the best thing to be aware of is that you need to be aware, funnily enough. It sounds ironic, but and not only that you should be aware, but awareness is not enough. Awareness doesn't actually get you anywhere. If it's not translating into behavior, if you are not doing things differently, then probably you're at risk. Let me give you an example. If someone asks you for something in a normal everyday context, they come up to you on the street and ask for information, then you don't just give it away. You know not to do this. You have automatic mechanisms for dealing with it. If this happens over a screen, it's surprising how much data people will just give away to the internet. And this is obviously wrong. So I think one of the biggest challenges for the European citizen is to develop a way of dealing with risk that is not based on processes and papers and rules, but which is intuitive, where they know what they're doing. I think it's perfectly possible. For instance, if you go and visit sites which are dodgy content, then of course you're going to have more chance of being infected. If you keep your surfing habits reasonable, you have less chance of being infected. If people ask you questions, you're careful how you answer. The simple things. So my advice to the European citizen would be, try to develop this electronic common sense, and then to supplement it, of course, follow the normal rules. I mean, make sure you use antivirus, you have a firewall at home, etc. But it's the former that will save you. It's your knowledge of how to deal with things. Because at the end of the day, security is all about thinking. And it's about being able to realize when you're under attack and react appropriately.
Okay. And how Latvia is compared to other EU countries in implementing policies or even creating them?
Well, we don't do benchmarking, so I can't really answer that question. Let me just say that we have great contacts with Latvia. We very much appreciated their contributions to various discussions, including on our management board, incidentally. And I think the Baltic countries in general are of a high standard in information security. So Latvia definitely has a key role to play. I think the important thing for any member state is to be able to get the optimal alignment between what they're trying to do at the national level and what Europe is trying to do. And our job at ENISA is to put all these pictures together so that we get the best deal for everybody. Now that may seem simple, it really isn't, and it takes a lot of thought. I'm happy to say that when I deal with the people from Latvia, they are thinking about it. It's a very intelligent discussion, and I see that there's full engagement, which means at the end of the day, you will get a better deal out of it.
Okay. And just to end this conversation, maybe you have some wishes for the future, for the audience, for the viewers.
Absolutely. Look, I think cybersecurity is an immensely interesting area. It's an immensely challenging area. Perhaps not for the reasons people think. I think the future of cybersecurity is less in intelligent systems and great code and technology. This is very important, and we need to build better and more secure systems. But again, I think the future of cybersecurity is learning how to live with the technology. So it's a fascinating subject. I think it's a very inspiring subject, and I would hope to inspire more people to get involved in it, because if you're going to solve a problem in cybersecurity, you need to know a lot about a lot of things, and you need to really think hard to put things together. And more than anything else, you need to be willing to learn as you go along, and that's a lifelong process, I think.
And that's because technology is here to stay.
Technology is here to stay, but remember, every solution is people, process, technology, and we shouldn't forget the people in the process side. They're important too.